Rebbe to wake us up. If not a Rebbe, who's going to wake us up? If not a tzaddik like the previous Rebbe, or a Chafetz Chaim, whoever the rabbi is, whoever the Torah Jew is, you know, it's not Chassid versus Litvak, whoever it's their job is to wake us up. So, my friends, this is the conclusion of this kind of mini-series on Teichacha that we need now to implement it. Now the work starts. But I think you heard loud and clear the message of the mimer, the message of the letter. And any thoughts, comments, anything you guys want to say about it?
I noticed I'm learning the Sikhas, in English, it's the Black Book of Judy Caribbean.
Yes, that came out, yes.
Recently?
Yes.
And he talks a lot about American Jewry and the coldness.
Yeah, people have asked me that question. You know, you have to understand the time period he said it. He said those talks between 1940 and 45. If you knew what was going on, and maybe you do, in Baltimore, in Philadelphia, in Boston, in Brooklyn, in the major hub, Chicago, the major hubs of Judaism, you would understand that he had to write that way. There was an abuse of, I'm going to use that, an abuse of Jewish power by the rabbis and leadership. If Rabbi Soloveitchik, such a special Yid, such a Talmud Chacham, in late 30s, was accused of stealing money that was given for the shechita, for the slaughtering, for the hashgacha, and he was vindicated by a guy I think named Seymour Cohn in court. You can't imagine how, and who contributed to his indictment? Orthodox rabbis. So you understand, the culture then was such that we were taking Jewish children, and teachers were called Talmud Torah in Borough Park. There was a school called Eitz Chaim, where I think Alan Dershowitz learned, and maybe Kahani, and it was a Zionistic school on the corner of 13th and 50th, where Eichler's is today, in Borough Park. That whole block was Eitz Chaim Yeshiva. It was founded, I think, in 1905. And the teachers, many of them, they spoke Ivrit B'Ivrit. The whole thing was to push Hebrew, right? But they were treif. They were eating treif. Not all, some. The culture was such that they were taking innocent Jewish children, supposedly educating them in Judaism and in Zionism, and at the same time belittling the kedusha, the holiness of the Torah. So the Rebbe had to make a very drastic announcement that this is taking place, because he didn't want more children and more parents to send their kids there. And this was a very big taiva, not even with taiva. This was a very big thing, because parents there were so few Jewish schools, right? So if you already have a Jewish school in your neighborhood, you're going to send them to Williamsburg? At that time, with a trolley meant an hour, 2 hours, when I have a school around the corner? How many parents are going to take the time to investigate and find out who is the teacher and what are they teaching and how are they teaching? Nah, my kid's going to a Jewish school. Or I heard, for example, from Rabbi Oltein Shalom, B'schus his neshama passed away a month ago, Rabbi Mordechai Oltein, he was over 100. And he told me once at a Fabrengen, also in Shul, that he remembers he was in Torah Vadas in the late 20s, early 30s, which was the yeshiva of all yeshivas as far as a frum school, and remembers that students went in the afternoon to college, or in the evening, and there was a known professor whose father-in-law, I think, was the head of Mizrahi. He didn't tell me the name because he didn't want to speak Lashon Hara, which is great. And he said that he literally was teaching Bible criticism, and he saw himself, friends of his, dropped out and became not religious from the Bible criticism, that this Jew who knew better, but he was a scoffer. He single-handedly, this is what Rabbi Oltan told me, he single-handedly caused boys who were frum in the morning and became not frum in the evening. Today, we don't have really, Baruch Hashem, as much in this. We have other issues, BDS, and other political issues and important issues. But I'm talking about scholars that are ridiculing the sanctity and holiness of Torah. What?
How demeaning can that be? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. What was their aim? What was their motive to do that?
They were heretics. They were apostates. But not religious. They were anti-religion.
Wow.
And they were angry that you could believe that creation's in 6 days. And they went and they proved that creation is millions of years. And they got vitality and chayas and enjoyment from convincing the young student, the young mind, that the Torah is bubble mice, God forbid, chas v'sholem, a lie.
Yeah. Wow.
You see, we can't even understand that there was such a culture, but there was.
Wow.
So you have to know that for the background of those sikhs. It was what we call, David, a shas cherem. A shas cherem means a time of war. And when you're in a time of war, the regular rules don't apply. It's wartime.